Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin,
And my name is Matt.
and we are going to talk about Disney
Star
Plus
Wars.
Day, which is on Thursday, September 8th, and D23 is this weekend. Huge news coming our way for multiple projects, stuff happening at Galaxy's Edge, most likely. The future is bright for that category and for the future of Star Wars. And for the Book of Boba Fett, they have won an Emmy and a possible leak of Mandalorian Season 3. Let's dive into it.
Yeah.
Let's
Just jump right in.
just
Are you a feet first person in a pool, or are you a head first kind of guy?
it depends on the day. It depends on how shallow the water is, I guess.
Oh, I mean that's pretty good. I'm like a collarbone first kind of guy. I like to get a little bit of lean. Yeah.
Again, a weird opening, but you know what? That's fine.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So, dropping tomorrow is Obi-Wan Kenobi: A Jedi's Return. This is definitely something that people have been wanting to see more behind the scenes. I'm really curious about the Order 66 stuff. I'm curious in how Hayden came back to that and like what his mindset and like everything, because of that. That was a dark time. That was a dark time during the movie. When they were filming it all the way back when. And I'm really curious of what the actors' reactions will be kind of going back to that period. And then also I want to see them talk about that training session that Obi-Wan and Anakin had in Coruscant. I think that would be really cool for them to kind of walk the audience through and talk about how they felt about it, kind of diving back in and getting those costumes back on again, like of the original prequel costumes. I think it's going to be a lot of feels. And I hope that maybe at the end I don't think they would officially announce season 2, but maybe hint at it, because that's something a lot of people are wanting. For me, I think it would be better if they announced a Vader series. If they did a Vader series and then tied Obi-Wan in, I think that would be great, because there's so much that you can do with Obi-Wan just staying on Tatooine. I don't think he would leave Tatooine again, unless something happened to Leia again, but I don't think that's going to happen. Of course, until the events of A New Hope, where he has to leave because Luke and everything. But I don't think that would. I just
not that face. Okay,
I just don't think anything would really get him to leave the planet besides Leia.
And like when they, we've said this before, but like when they initially, wrote out the script and the storyline for the first season of Kenobi, they never did it with the intention of being blessed by the presence of our boy James.
Herrera.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going. Sorry, Matt.
We are talking about how they are dropping Obi-Wan Kenobi and a Jedi's Journey tomorrow, and we were talking about what we're hoping to see from all of the behind the scenes stuff. And I was talking about a potential maybe season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi announcement, but I'm hoping that I would hope it would be a Vader show instead.
I think a season 2 Kenobi series I think that's a little too soon to be dropped.
I know.
Right now.
I know.
I mean, as great as that would be, I'm thinking more along the lines of like you said, if they did if they did do a Kenobi, Vader, of course, would be the better choice to say, like, we're dropping a Vader series. And then also Book of Boba Fett 2, like just a finite, like, we are doing a Book of Boba Fett season 2 would probably be a more likely situation than an Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2.
Right.
Because of right now, the Book of Boba Fett is just that rumor, that poster we saw, I think, like, in America. So that might be a confirmation.
Or like maybe not even an announcement, like maybe some type of hint that it potentially might happen. Mm-hmm. I think it would be really cool, because of that like show was phenomenal, and no one can deny that people were very, very excited to see all these great characters and actors return. And if it is something with the Vader show, I think that would bring in even more people. And then you could tie Obi-Wan in it in some way, because to me, there's no Anakin without Obi-Wan, and there's no Obi-Wan without Anakin. Like they are so bonded, and they're like, they're like characters are great alone, but they stand stronger if they're in the same storyline together.
So let me ask you this question about Darth Vader. So Darth Vader is pretty awesome. He's one of the most legendary villains in cinematic history.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
Is
cool
Vader great in small doses, or is Vader, or do we want an entire show with Vader? Like he's just the main character? Or do we like the whole fact that maybe the mysteriousness, the barely seeing him makes him that much more better? What do y'all think?
So this is kind of a deja vu conversation, because it's kind of like with Boba Fett. People felt the same way with Boba, where his story was told, because he's such a legendary character, and he was also mysterious in a way. So when his story was told, there were parts of it where people were like, well, that's not how I imagined he would act. And I think the biggest one of, a fun example is he gets his ass handed to him by Black Chrysanthemum, right? Like, like a big fight and everything. And then they somehow get Black Chrysanthemum to fall into the old Rancor pit. And then Boba walks down wearing a bathrobe, and he's like, hey, man, is everything chill? Everything good? And it's just, and to most of the audience, we were like, Boba would never do that. He would have put on the armor and got ready to jump back into the fight. So to me, that was like a big, like, oh, nah, I don't know about that. I think that with Vader, because his story is so established, and we know almost everything about him, I think if there was a whole show dedicated to him, I think it would work out fine, because if you have the comics, you have the books, there's a whole Vader comic book series that really dives deeper into his time as Vader. But seeing that live action, I think where Vader is in his prime, kind of like what we saw in the Kenobi series, I think that would draw the audience in, because people want to see him dealing with everything that happened with Order 66 and Padme, but also maintaining that structure of he's this strong, powerful being, but his weakness is his past. And I think that would be very awesome to see on screen, besides the novels that we have.
Gotcha. Yeah, because there is a very good run of Vader, comic book run of Vader right now. I think it's over, but it was really good. And then plus the whole watching Vader Unleashed, watching Vader just go to town like he did with Rogue One, as well as a little bit there in Kenobi. Matt, what's your thing on Vader? Like, you want Vader? Do you want like a whole show of Vader, or would you be cool with Vader being like in the shadows, mostly for live action? Because apparently comic books work, but for live action they haven't really done that yet with Vader.
Yeah. Being a guy who's kind of like, I'm a huge fan of the guy. He's a pretty cool dude. I look up to him. But
wow, okay.
Yeah. I think his ideals, his morals are all great. Anyways, but for real, on a real note, I think that it is important for a person of his stature and his all of the things that he is like known for, especially like if put yourself in the position of a stormtrooper in the Empire who's never even like seen him in person, but they all fear him just because of the legends and all of the stories that have come out of his existence, but they never see him, and yet they still fear him. He's not a talkative guy. He's a man of action. He's a man of few words, and he's not the kind of villain who needs to say much, because he proves himself through his actions and through his convictions. Being an individual who went from being just a Jedi Knight, not even a Jedi Master, to overthrowing and destroying the Jedi Order, and then becoming like one of the two Sith in a matter of days and weeks leading up to the episode 3 conclusion. It's just goes to speak to his character as to how much he is willing to do to achieve what he believes in. But then when you take the thing that he believes in away, that being hope, love, family, Padme, I guess, all of those three things put together, you create a villain with no morals, and a villain with no resolve. He has his duty to his master. He has his duty to the Empire, but in the end, he has nothing to lose, essentially. And when you're, I mean, literally, he could cut all 4 of his limbs off and he'd probably be okay. I mean, someone's done that a few times, I think.
Yeah, he fashioned himself a suit based off of battle droid armor.
For sure. He's
awesome.
he's a guy that will take whatever situation he's in and he'll make the best of it. And at whatever cost it takes, whether to himself or to those who are with him, as a stormtrooper or as any kind of ally to the Empire, he is an individual of little words. That being said, a series that would come to exist based off of his story, and just having known some of the stories that could come into existence based off of the comic books and some of the novels that are based off of him, there's a lot of potential for it. There's a lot of action sequences and a lot of backstory that we could be filled in as to his role in the Empire, because all we know is that he is in this great leadership position, but we don't really know much about, in terms of canon and what we've seen on screen, as to what he has done for the Empire. But if you were to bring some of those stories into existence, from some of the lore of comic books and novels, there's some great visually stunning scenes I can think of off the top of my head that I would love to see in live action.
The more I'm hearing y'all talk about it, the more I'm like, okay, it could work. But y'all convinced me. But one thing David did say was, the interesting about Vader, there is conflict, even though he says there is none in Return of the Jedi. Vader is always being torn, and I think exploring that. Anyway, I think exploring that would be something really, really cool to see. And hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good.
We're talking about Darth Vader, and of course, what else would we be talking about? I'm just kidding. And so we're talking about if Vader would work on a show, if Vader had his own show on Disney Plus, because that's one of the things we think may be announced at D23. But mostly that is wishful thinking, because I mean, as much as I think Lucasfilm would be smart to do that, I don't think they're going to do that just yet. I think they're going to
people love Hayden, right? Like,
I
mean, ever since he got back, Hayden coming back as Vader in the Kenobi series, that was a huge selling point for the series, that some of the actors were coming back, but Hayden has always had that huge following ever since the prequels came out, and in the Clone Wars. Not as many people know this, but Hayden actually wanted to come back as Anakin and voice Anakin in the Clone Wars, and they said no. They wanted to go to a different approach, and it's like Hayden has always been part of Star Wars. He always wanted to come back in some way, and after I learned that, I was devastated because I never thought I would ever see him live action again. But then here we are years later. We saw him, holding his lightsaber again, and then also wearing the Vader suit again. This is a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and right now would be a amazing time to announce the Vader series. People would flip out if they announced it at D23. Now you're right; it might be too soon.
Are you saying that if they announce it, but then they have a release date of 2025, is that going to annoy you?
No. As
they there's a little sprinkle on top. Is that oh yeah, by the way, we're making a Vader series, lol, and then it's 2025. It just has his lightsaber at night.
Well, they actually did announce that for the Kenobi series. They if I remember correctly, they announced it, but they didn't announce when it was coming out. They were just like, here is Ewan. He's coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then that was it. And they announced they were doing the show, but they didn't give her a release date, which I think was smart at the time. And I think they will probably do that for the Vader series. And Hayden is a huge selling point. I think we need more Hayden in. I think we need Hayden more back as Anakin, which we will in the Ahsoka series. That's already been established. That is definitely happening.
Did you hear that thing with the Ahsoka series? How Rosario Dawson posted that tweet, like Sky Guy they know, see you in the show, when she really didn't know that was for certain. Like that was a rumor. Someone had also told her, and I read an article where she did say that when it wasn't actually 100% certain that Hayden Christensen was going to be in Ahsoka.
Right.
So in a
like
way,
at the time,
she spoke that into existence as well, because now he is going to be in it. But I just found that kind of funny that she did kind of accidentally.
She also did that for the casting for live action Ezra and Thrawn as well.
She's great. I like Rosario Dawson. Just keep telling her stuff and she'll tell us. She does it really cool.
She's pretty cool.
But yeah, so yeah, D23 is starting. Is it tomorrow? Is it tomorrow or the 9th? I know it's sometime.
It's the 9th through the 12th.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right down the road for me. I might just try to sneak in. I'm not going to sneak in. I thought about it. But yeah, so what else? So yeah, that's D23. Anything else?
Well, yes. So there was some of the things that were announced for it, but here's also like the stuff that we're hoping that we see. We are hoping to see an actual release date for Bad Batch Season 2, which I think we will get.
Yeah, that one's
and they will. And we're hoping to get the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga DLC reveal and trailer, because that definitely like needs more, and people have been asking for customization for that game, and I think we will get it. I would be surprised if we didn't get it at the games panel, and the actual Lego game will be like the first topic they talk about.
I'm really hoping for just to see that Ubisoft game. I would love for them to do a little teaser that Ubisoft game.
Hey, side note, Josh, have you ever considered ASMR? Because
no, you actually have a good voice, Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He likes to get out like right up in the mic, and I'm like,
but
hey,
what's the I'm sorry,
Can you
what's
read me a story?
The Ubisoft? What is
so? I don't know if you've seen that trailer. It's an open world one, but I don't know if you've seen the trailer for the new Avatar game by any chance.
We discussed it very briefly on the podcast we did on Monday, but we didn't get into it much. We discussed more of the writer from Far Cry 6 with Giancarlo Esposito and Ubisoft doing a project, but we got like very briefly mentioned Avatar.
Actually, the Ubisoft panel's quite soon anyway, which would be pretty interesting if they wanted to drop it then. But most people know that there's a open world new engine that Disney was working with Ubisoft to be like, all right, if you're gonna do well and you really want Star Wars, prove us on Avatar. And
with state of the art real world
absolutely
graphics,
gorgeous. I can't wait to see more from it, but we do know that Star Wars project is in the works, and it's far enough along to where I believe they could technically show something at D23 if they wanted to. And I think that would be the biggest mic drop, because I think that's the one that a lot of people were looking forward to. I'm extremely looking forward to I'm looking
Survivor.
forward to Survivor, but I mean, I think this is definitely like my second, like, I want to see more from it. I think if we got a trailer from it, it would be really, really good. Like an in-game footage one would be great.
Didn't we get a trailer for something and then it was
Star Wars Eclipse? But
yes,
that
was so
David
disappointing.
Cage game anyway. Like, I'm not super disappointed because it's gonna take forever, obviously, and that's fine. But it's a David Cage game, so it was just gonna be like like a story game. It's not like choose your own adventure kind of feeling,
not open
which
world.
is what this open world one is meant to be.
Yeah.
So either I
like
think it would
the
either
GTA of Star Wars, baby.
That's what people want. People want to just go up, take someone out of a land speeder, take it, pimp it out, like just drive around like the planet. I mean,
get
honestly,
caught and then drive into a garage, and then it comes
I think it would be
perfectly new.
Extremely good timing for having the Ubisoft like panel for their new games and this D23 like gamer thing. They're very close to each other, so I think that, because I know that the number one game right now that people really want to see from Ubisoft is Assassin's Creed and that game, and I'm like, be interesting to see if it pops up there.
That would be interesting. David did say some tweets today unconfirmed that Bad Batch is dropping on the 28th, which is kind of weird. Bad
That was
Batch
the
is being
original
thrown
date
everywhere.
for it.
I think
That-
it was the original date, and then they were like,
Yeah.
"Nah, just kidding." But now they're going like, "Yeah, it's the 20." So I just want a definite answer about this show. Okay, so D23, just give us a definite when.
I
is the
would
show?
like them to at least acknowledge the confusion that they have created because of they had it on the roster, they like took it off, but then if you look in Australia, it's still on their roster, and then it's like
I think we'll just
boom,
have to
silent.
wait until Disney
Yeah.
Plus Day, to be honest.
Yeah.
Until we get like
Yeah,
some
which
solid
is,
information.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep. Wait, no, it's
we-
the 9th.
no,
Disney Plus
no.
Day is tomorrow. The
Disney
D23
Plus Day is
pan
tomorrow.
Starts.
Yeah.
on
Oh, that's
the
where I was
9th.
getting confused too. Yeah,
Tomorrow
Disney
is
Plus Day is
Disney
tomorrow.
Day. The next day, Friday.
Yeah.
That's
So I think,
when
I think we'll get
D23
more
starts.
information tomorrow on it.
But
The panel with like Lucasfilm is on the 10th at 10 a.m.
My birthday,
Mm-hmm.
man.
and
Only
then
two.
something else that we will
I said
probably get. Something else we will probably get at D23 as well will be our first look at Mando and Grogu coming to Galaxy's Edge and over at Disneyland, and potential new stuff for Galaxy's Edge.
What?
And the Halcyon.
Disney World or just Disneyland?
Disneyland currently.
Disneyland probably.
Disneyland, yes, but I am hoping that we also get some announcements at the parks panel because
Yeah.
you know, Star Wars is a big IP, and I would be surprised if they were like, "All right, this is it. We're like cutting it off." Like, there's so much to add to it, and I think they will.
I think
I
right
would be
now is
surprised if they do.
the smartest thing is for them to start showing some real changes to the parks
Yeah.
and really getting people in with the threat of the new Universal Park opening up so soon.
I mean, Disney just doesn't seem to. They care about revenue and they care about where it comes from, and the fact that like Disney Parks is like 10% or 12% of like the overall revenue of like Disney's corporation. So it's just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Disney. I always like envied Disneyland because they were always way more able to have characters out and about just because of their size and the quantity of people. But yeah, I really would like to see what they have to offer for the future of Galaxy's Edge. I'm excited to see what that might be for not only Disneyland but Disney World, or if they decide to take it up and do some parks internationally. Maybe
we know that the characters that we have in over at California,
Orlando,
that
Or no,
are
you're talking
walking
about
around are going to be over at Launch Bay for us. So you'll be able to go and take the photos, not at
not
Indy
Galaxy's
2,
Edge, but
but-
the Hollywood Studios over at Launch.
yeah, at Launch Bay and Hollywood Studios. And
That's been the rumor. Like I am hoping like that ends up being the case. Like that hasn't been officially talked about anywhere. That's only been like the main rumors. So I'm hoping it ends up being at Launch Bay. Yeah.
And like David says, just have a ton of Mandos just walking around. Oh, Borgullet should be walking around as well. And somebody did ask, is this a live podcast? Yes, this is a live podcast from Twitch. Yeah, they asked us from Twitch. This is a live podcast.
Did they just tune into our live podcast and then ask if it was a live podcast?
Hey, some people are jerks though. They say it's live, but it's just a stream. So yeah. So no,
that is true.
live.
That is a
They're
true
doing
statement.
this. But working at the park, I'm not giving away any secrets, but at working at the park, there was a lot of talk while I was there of things that were supposed to happen at Disneyland. Things that were supposed to happen that got put on hold because of COVID, and COVID affected a lot of stuff with the parks, not just Galaxy's Edge, but the entirety of Disney World and Disneyland. So now that with COVID kind of out, and everything getting back to normal, it seems like now is a great time for Disney at D23 to say, okay, here's what we promised, and it's finally going to start to happen in the coming years. That's what I'm hoping starts to happen here pretty soon. But we'll just have to wait and see.
And I wanted to mention this earlier when Colin was talking about wanting the Darth Vader series to come into existence. If they were going to be mentioning something related to the existence of that series potentially, would it had to have been already in some sort of production phase, like either months or like even like a year ago or perhaps a couple years ago?
Can you elaborate on that first part?
You said at D23 you were hoping maybe they might like mention something about season 2 of Kenobi or mention the
of
launch of Darth Vader series.
Yeah, of the Vader series.
And
yeah.
if they were to do that this year, wouldn't they would have already had to have been in some sort of production phase? And would we not have heard about it at all?
Okay,
Because
so
that's a very big
how much of your production phase are you looking for? Because I mean, that's what we were thinking, like that it could just be a mic drop. Like we've talked to Hayden and he knows that we want to do a series and we're going to do some planning later, but it's on the books. Like we're going to do it. So
we've had this before where Star Wars says that they're going to do a project and then a couple months later they
but I think
it.
It would be cool to see that mic drop, just to be like, all right, Vader series, by the way.
Just the logo.
Exactly.
Would be
Because I mean, we've seen the logo for Acolyte, and it's literally been like what, almost 4 years now.
Yeah, I mean,
well, they're building the set. It's happening.
People would flip out if all of a sudden like the stadium went black. You like heard Darth Vader's breathing, and then Hayden walked on stage, and then it just popped up on screen Vader.
And
people would be like,
thing.
Exactly. That'd be great.
If they're going to be doing a Darth Vader series anytime soon, it has to be sooner rather than later, just for the sake of preserving the voice of James Earl Jones, and potentially using him. I know you guys in your technology and adapting languages.
All three of us were like,
you children in your technology.
But they did it though. They did it though, Matt. They were able to use that.
Yeah, but like Darth Vader was present for like what percentage of the series?
Okay,
Imagine doing an entire series based off of him. Do you think you can create a language with what we already have for a whole television series?
Weirdly, yes.
Okay. But then again, I'm the kind of guy who also, if just watching Vader, like for some odd reason, I don't know how they do it, but putting the camera on Vader when he's not talking, what he's thinking, and it's amazing.
Exactly. So, there's not many.
You
lines
can tell what that man's thinking. You can't even see his facial features.
Exactly, but I'm saying that's the beauty of
I've also always wanted to like touch his little silver nose,
and so
it looks like it perfectly fit my finger.
So what I'm saying is, we can have a whole show about Vader, and Vader could be a big part. But he doesn't have to be speaking the whole time. People could be speaking to him.
Yeah, like
I'd say like 40%
of
his
line
on
count
screen
was
because not talking.
I don't think we've ever had him like talk as much as in the Kenobi series, because I feel like he was talking a lot in the Kenobi series.
He talked a lot in
Star Wars Rebels,
Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
But Rebels was voiced weird.
That was actually James Earl Jones, though. Like
I know, but
every single time he showed up, it was James Earl Jones.
Even if that's what makes it interesting, is that it's like,
yeah, he is a little bit older. I mean, not a little bit. He is old. He is in his 90s.
Boy up there in age.
So that's pretty good, actually. But I mean, I think I'm not too concerned about the voice, knowing that they were able to use some of his voice. Will be plenty for me, knowing that his legacy, even after he's gone, will be able to keep going. We'll be able to keep hearing that legendary voice of Darth Vader. So yeah, I mean,
that is also the same thing like they did for Luke in the Mando season 2 and Book of Boba Fett, especially in the Book of Boba Fett, because it's like that is Mark Hamill. They have just did voice cloning is what David was talking about, and it just made him sound like exactly how Mark Hamill sounded like back in the 1980s. It was done so well, and for the non-normal fan, if this was their first time watching it, I guarantee some people would be like, man, like this is great, this is high definition, not knowing that they de-aged Mark Hamill for like for the Book of Boba Fett, and they did deep fakes and everything. And that's the same thing with the voice. But I wanted to transition, and Matt's going to talk about this, but because someone made a comment, they were talking about, and this is actually really funny because we are actually.
Can someone read the comment for our listeners?
Also, Colin, use the new Manscaped for your upper lip. Well, crazy enough, Chris
Manscaped
Love.
Thank you so much for
Lawnmower
that. You have made my
4.0.
week. That's insane. Oh,
We
my
are
goodness.
now sponsored by Manscaped.
Oh wow!
I
Thank
mean,
you so much for supporting the podcast. There,
Well,
Manscaped.
actually, like starting tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know, because we're recording this on September 7th,
Yeah.
you know, starting tomorrow, it'll be official.
But yeah, so
Why am I talking about this? Oh, you
because
just want
I
me to
don't.
just talk about it?
Yeah.
You don't want to
Just like-
what?
Because
what
I
would you
don't
give
have
for
any of
your
the product.
your review?
I don't
What
have
would
the
you give your
product.
favorite
Oh,
review of the
right.
product
Matt
so
has the
far?
product. James has the
Are you
product.
enjoying it?
Yeah.
How's
I
that
enjoying
shirt,
it?
James? Is it a nice shirt?
The shirt is very nice. The product is pretty good. Although they do promote it a certain way, you can actually use it on
Literally
everywhere.
anywhere.
So
Yeah.
I've actually, and it actually comes with, for some of us who are rather hairier than others. Yes, it
Hi,
comes with a nose
I'm
trimmer and an
Dutch.
ear hair trimmer, which I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
that is the best.
You put that in your
And,
ears? I thought
yeah.
it was for nose specifically. I don't
No,
have
no,
any
it's-
hair in my ears.
Well,
Luckily,
you were very blessed. I will
I am
say.
a youth.
He's just not old
So,
enough yet. He's gonna hit
yeah.
that point.
Although I got like bushels inside of my nostrils. I mean, look at these things. So
Yeah,
you
but
can just
now they're clean,
imagine.
right? Because of you.
Yes,
use Manscaped,
they call the nose trimmer the weed whacker.
the weed whacker. So
Yeah.
yes, I have been using that one.
I don't know what's up with them in lawn appliances being the name of their products, but
Because it's Manscaped and usually men are the
Landscaped,
ones
like,
that
Right,
the whole-
because of
Manscaped. They got, like,
Manscaped,
the whole, like,
Landscaped.
But yeah,
going
starting
on.
tomorrow we will be officially starting our thing with them, and so yeah, we just wanted to throw that out there right now.
Oh, and they
Boom.
got this. They got this. They gave us like ball deodorant and toner. It's like deodorant that you like put up here, but it's for down
Okay.
there. It's great. No, we got to talk about it. 'cause,
especially
like,
living in Florida. That sounds absolutely amazing.
We just about living in
Wombat,
California right
for
now.
sure.
It's like
Yeah.
100 degrees here in California right now.
That's
Okay,
fair.
someone just asked. Let's get back to the. Okay,
Put it on the
what's
sack,
the
put
next
it in the
thing to
crack.
release for
Manscaped.
television? What's the next thing to release for television? Andor comes out 2 weeks. 2 weeks today. actually.
September 21st, the
Very,
first
very,
three
very
episodes.
excited.
And
Not that guy
the-
trying to get us off talking about our
the more trailers that
manscaping.
drop for Andor, the better it is looking. Like, have you seen
we're
the
getting
newest
very excited.
spot? Yeah, the newest spot is with Mon Mothma when she says, the more of a nuisance I am, the more they can't realize what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, this is cool. Like,
That's what I
she
thought was
she
the
has
title.
the look of a politician, but in reality, she's over here getting them to fight back.
And they
against
had
the
that whole talk about how adult this series is, and I couldn't be more happy with that.
Yeah.
Not that it's just taking it very seriously and the topics very seriously. And
Where's
I
Mason?
could not
He'd
be
love to
happier.
talk about this.
That
I
that
agree with Josh. Yeah.
that clip that they showed at the IMAX screening for Rogue One was very real and dark. And the thing that really got me off guard was of when one of the characters swears and then all the violence starts to happen. I'm like, okay, this is kind of a new turn for Star Wars. Like, they've sworn a couple of times, but it was like, super quick. But in that clip, it was like, this is going to be a dark show. This is going to be serious than what we've gotten before. It will probably still have that Star Wars vibe, but also it's going to have more of that serious tone than what we've had before.
The controversy is not even a controversy, but the argument is, George Lucas did say he made Star Wars for 12-year-old boys.
Yep.
Like, that was what he made Star Wars for.
And it's okay for him to be wrong.
But the thing is, now that we're growing up, now that even Dave Filoni has said, he doesn't want to take that experience away from another kid, from another generation. So it just comes to, like, it's just this question, like, does Star Wars need to grow up, or can some Star Wars be grown up and some Star Wars still be made?
Exactly. I 100% agree with the second
those
option.
12-year-olds are like
If
in their
Star
40s
Wars
and
is for
shit.
everyone, I believe there should be another adult media. We've had it in books, we've had it in comics, but I believe now is the greatest time to actually get it on film. And
Yes.
But then again, I don't think that we should be, again, like taking Star Wars away from that younger generation. Like,
no, but I believe that we should allow to have that separate media because,
Yeah.
as we've said, Star Wars is for everyone. And I'm like, this you want to dip your toes into this the first way? Great. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
I'm all
I'm
for it.
anxious to see this new side of Star Wars, and it's gonna be interesting to hear other fans, like people who are just getting introduced to Star Wars, like, oh my gosh, this is so great, and us being like, yeah, because we've never seen anything like this either. You know, like that's what makes it fun. That's what makes the new like the Taika Waititi Star Wars interesting is when people are going to be talking about it, and us Star Wars fans are also going to be very, very new to it, and it's just going to be a fun like time to have a conversation with somebody about it.
If he ever decides to finish it, so there's that.
Yeah, we got to anyways. So yeah, Andor is the next show coming out September 21st, and as David said, it's basically an entire movie, an hour and a half long movie that's going to be shown. So that's
Beautiful.
pretty exciting stuff.
Disney princess length film right there.
What was that?
It's a Disney princess length film right there.
Yep, exactly. And so what else? And that was that question. What else?
Well, there's like Bad Batch, but we don't have like an official date for it. But it's probably going to be like either in the week following, or either
they gotta give us something. Like Josh said, tomorrow they should probably finally say, okay, this is when it's happening.
Here's
right. Just watch them just drop it.
I think they're going to start dropping the trailers that you saw over at Star Wars Celebration.
God, I hope so.
I think we will probably get the official season 3, the official season 3 Mandalorian one. Probably not the one that we got at the actual panel, but the one before that, at the Lucasfilm panel. I don't think we would get it like the one that they showed at the Mandalorian Plus panel, just because the fact that one was almost 4 minutes long. And
like the Mandalore shot and everything.
Yeah, it showed a lot, like a lot to
drop more for this, only because we had so much dropped at Comic-Con for Marvel projects. So I'm like, now would be a great time, and you have 2 that are back to back that you can drop some big trailers. I would even say if it's Disney Plus, like, hey, like the full trailer will be dropped at D23 or something like that, where you'd have to tune into D23 to watch it.
So. Something else as well I think they will do is that they will announce when Jedi Survivor is officially coming out, like the actual release date for that, and then most likely when they do March. They will, because that was the leaked date, but when they announce like the actual like official date, like of the date and time and everything, they will put it all of that will go onto the PlayStation and Xbox store, where you will be able to pre-order it and everything. Is my guess. And then an official announcement for the Book of Boba Fett season 2, and something about Acolyte.
On the game side, what were you guys expecting? So Hunter's release date, Survivor release date, and then Lego DLC, and then the wild card for me is that open world game. But I mean, are you guys expecting any other like wild card games or anything that has been rumored?
No, I think you pretty much said what like the things that we're all kind of looking forward to.
Yeah, it's just interesting that they're doing it then. But then is it a Lucasfilm panel? Because if it is, then we could get Indiana Jones.
Well, they are going to discuss Indiana Jones and Lucasfilm's panel.
So Indiana Jones game.
Oh, I don't know about the game, but I know
that honestly is probably what will happen, because I think the official title for it is the Lucasfilm and Marvel and Disney Games panel. Like that's like the name of it. Okay. So it would make sense for them to talk about the Indiana Jones game because that was announced back in 2020 that they were working on it, and in a game like that, where it's like, very similar to Uncharted.
Bethesda, so it's very exciting.
Right. Like, I mean, and to possibly line it up with the release date of Indiana Jones 5, that would be really cool. It would be really, really cool. How would you feel if they announced some other like Indiana Jones projects where they were like, we are going to continue the Young Indiana Jones series or something like that?
Shia LaBeouf is coming back.
I think if for like more Indiana Jones, I just want them to release this movie first before they start promising and telling us more things that are going to happen. I think their focus right now should be just getting this movie out next summer. That's my thing about it. Do I want to hear more Indiana Jones stuff? Heck yeah, I want to hear more Indiana Jones stuff. But if we haven't even gotten a full like title and a full anything else from the new movie, I don't want to hear anything else except about this new movie.
Fair statement.
And just a little one more quick thing. The Hollywood Bowl, John Williams was there performing at the Hollywood Bowl. and he did drop new music from Indiana Jones 5. He did drop the new theme for Phoebe Waller.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he played her theme for what it's going to sound like in next year. So that's really, really cool. And rumor has it her character may take over the not the title of Indiana Jones, but the adventures. So, that's something to look forward to. And she's great. She's a wonderful actress. Of course, she was L3 in Solo. So she's
that's interesting. I didn't hear that. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor going around right now.
Okay.
So that's just I just want to throw that out there.
Interesting.
And yeah, if you're right, I forgot Lucasfilm does own Indiana Jones. I'm just kidding, but no, we should be also getting information about that for D23 as well.
Yeah.
Before we go on, somebody did ask us rank Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, Mando, and Kenobi.
I would put The Mandalorian first, Kenobi second, and then Book of Boba Fett last.
I concur with that statement. I concur with that. Yeah.
I feel that.
All right, I'm probably gonna say the same thing. Although I did really like Book of Boba Fett quite a bit. So that one's pretty high.
Yeah, but it was just those are in the order in the way that they gave me what I was expecting or wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got you. All right,
Also, going back a little bit in terms of TV series that are being released soon, we also forgot to mention the Tales of the Jedi, which is releasing in late 2022. I think in November.
Which we don't know the actual release date for that either.
Right. Yeah, I don't know either. I know it's probably going to be after Bad Batch and Andor for sure.
I'm probably thinking maybe November, possibly October, but most likely November because Andor will go all the way until then.
So Netflix just launched or just released their Netflix lineup for the next couple of months here. I think that, or the next month, I think Disney Plus tomorrow is also going to do the same thing. And they're going to finally give us some dates. And it's Tales of the Jedi live action. It is animated and it is written by Dave Filoni. And there are 6 stories. I believe it's 3 about Ahsoka, 3 about Count Dooku. And I saw the first episode at Celebration of Ahsoka, and it was amazing. And they released a really cool trailer, and then they never showed it to anybody else. So I don't know why they did.
I am honestly more excited. Yeah, I'm more excited for the Count Dooku storyline than I am than about Ahsoka, and the only reason why is because we know a decent amount about Ahsoka, but we still don't know that much about Count. Like Count Dooku's like official origin of why he turned to the dark side. And if you think about it, it might be very similar to why very similar to Saruman's story of him turning to the dark side, if you will, towards Sauron and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that.
I never thought about that. That makes
yeah.
These two characters kind of do have a little bit of similarities. Right.
So I could definitely see them doing something very similar with that. And that's kind of poetic because Christopher Lee played both of those characters.
He did.
And what's really cool is the voice of Qui-Gon will be voiced by Liam Neeson, as well as Liam Neeson's son as well are going to be, they're going to mix those voices together, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Tales of the Jedi. And I'm thinking it's interesting because we have Disney Plus Day tomorrow, as well as D23 starting right after that. We're going to get a lot of information these next few days. A lot of these dates that we're kind of hoping for, I know we're probably going to be getting these next few days. So that's exciting to think about these release dates. And I think tomorrow for Disney Plus Day, they should drop something Mando season 3. They should drop a teaser, just something quick, because Grogu is selling Star Wars right now. So they gotta make sure people will keep subscribing to Disney Plus. Because
speaking of subscribing, and because there's a whole bunch of content coming out soon, with our daily Patreon podcast, now's a really good time to hop on our Patreon. So if you don't know about the Star Wars Stuff Podcast Patreon, we have a whole bunch of new tiers ranging from $1 to $66. Ironically, 66. We did it on purpose. And our Black Kyber Crystal members get mentioned on our on our actual podcast, the one that we're about to do right now. So actually, Colin, do you have that list right now?
I do have the list.
You want to mention some of our
66.
most trusted friends and allies of the podcast?
You know, crazy enough, I would love to do that. Here
You should
is
totally
the
do
shout out
that.
list.
Yeah.
For our purple tiers, we have Chris Simpson, we have Kevin L, we have Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, and Zach Netzel. For our red tiers, we have Fenrir 526, Matt Heath, and Maya Morris. And for our black Kyber Crystal tier, we have I'm trying my best here, guys.
You're good.
Yeah, you are.
Maka Tala, Nathan Shank, Evan O'Packer, and Liam McCallion. Thank you so
And, yeah,
much for.
well, Liam's on here right now. Liam, thank you very much for supporting us.
Thank
the
you.
66 Black Kyber Crystal.
66.
Some of those names you mentioned have been with us since 2018. Like some of these names have been a part of this thing that long. So thank y'all so much for supporting. And like we were saying with Patreon, like Matt was saying with Patreon, David and a few of us try every day to get on, and we just literally have a discussion about Star Wars. It's called Podcast Daily or Patreon Daily, and David hosts it. And yeah, we just get on there and we just chat about Star Wars, the latest thing. I argue with David about. So I'm just kidding. I never argue with David about anything. But yeah, we just have a discussion about Star Wars. And if news drops, that's usually where we will say it right away. We don't wait until the week. I mean, like these podcasts, David and I will usually talk about it. So yeah. Check out the Patreon. We have the links there below if you want to jump on and help us.
Yeah, we got like 5 different tiers. So if you want to do like a $2 a month, we have the blue Kyber Crystal. You get access to our private Discord server. You can do the $5 tier, which you get free versions of our weekly episode. You get input on future episodes, behind the scene videos. We actually have a blooper reel that we're working on. I know I contribute to that a lot. We have the purple Kyber Crystal tier, which is $10, which you get all the things I just previously mentioned, plus you get personal shout outs on a regular show, just like we just did now, behind the scene videos of yours truly and other podcasters in Galaxy's Edge. And then there's red, which is $25, I believe. Oh, it's right in front of me. Yeah, the red Kyber Crystal, you get access to everything I just mentioned before. You also get access to our workshop cosplay building, as well as hangout sessions once a month with yours truly and other hosts of the podcast, personal thank you videos, access to our merchandise, which is not something that is of public mind yet, and access to our limited Sabak Talk video podcast. If you haven't paid attention to those podcasts in the past, those Sabak Talks are extremely entertaining, not only for the people playing the game, but for those watching. And then of course we have the black tier Kyber Crystal, which is $66. You get everything that I just previously mentioned before, as well as access to all current and future merch and chances to win items from our unboxing videos. We have tons of merchandise. We've given away Black Series figures, helmets, sets. We got tons of stuff in the future that we're planning on doing for our unboxing videos. And we don't keep those. We give those to you guys.
Yes.
So we buy them using your money, and we give them right back to you. That's how we do it here. So we're
that cool.
Yeah, we're cool like that.
we're that cool. But yeah.
So if you wanted a link, you can go to Star Wars Stuff Podcast on our Instagram or Facebook. All of the links are there, but we also have it right here below. If Colin wants to put that up, it is.
There it is.
Yep. It's at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. That number is important. Don't forget that part.
Yeah, the number is very important.
Yeah. So to our followers already, thank you so much for your continued support. To our future followers, welcome.
Welcome, Jedi.
So I think we should have a friendly conversation. Let's talk about The Last Jedi. I'm kidding. All right. So what else? What else?
Okay. First off, I didn't even bring that up.
Gotta
Dude.
go.
That was you. That was 100% you.
It was a good segue. Anyways, so what else do we have on the agenda today?
There was a leak for season 3 of Mandalorian.
Everyone's been talking about
reasons I will not show the video because it would kind of be copyright
Yes.
because it is unofficial footage. But
kind of obvious who's in the video, at least one of the people.
yes, so in that footage, it does show the character Bo-Katan, and there's a second figure in there that is possibly one of her fellow Mandalorians from season 2 of
Someone
Mandalorian.
with a jetpack.
And
Somebody
it
with a
looks like she is fighting them, and the person wearing the armor is wearing like the same color scheme armor as Bo-Katan. So there's a chance that it could be one of them. But what's interesting is that some of those actors stated that they would not be in season 3 of Mandalorian. So who do you guys think that she could potentially be fighting? Do you think it's a character that we know, or do you think it's just like someone that is not agreeing with the way that she's running things and is just like a random Mandalorian that we haven't met yet?
I'm gonna say just a random Mandalorian.
What's the Sasha Banks character? I thought that's what when I first saw it. The first time I thought that's who it was, because I thought I saw a braid down the side of that person that she was fighting.
Casca Reeves is her character's name.
Yeah, there's David.
So,
yeah, also Casca Reeves.
Because she has the same color scheme, she has that same jetpack, and she has a braid going down the right side of her head, and that's what I thought I saw. The video quality of that video is subpar at best, so it's kind of difficult.
It is someone filming like from a distance, and you can and
they, like,
you can
zoomed in as
tell
far as they
that
could.
they're not supposed to be filming it because it kind of looks like they're hiding it.
So you mean an assistant editor on the project was like, no one's gonna notice.
James, we're not snitching, chill.
But what I find really interesting about the footage that y'all saw at Celebration, as well as some of this footage that we're seeing, is a lot of the footage from Mandalorian that we were seeing, like the firsthand, was only like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So think of all the images we have seen that have leaked, and just think that that's only the first 3 episodes of the entire season.
There's so much to look forward to.
There's so much more that we have no idea.
So I will say about the footage that we saw at Celebration over at the Mandalorian Plus panel, there was more footage that they didn't show at the Lucasfilm panel than what they did at the Mandalorian Plus panel. And at that panel, there were definitely things where I'm just like, that seems like it's going to be happening at the like in the middle of the season or maybe near the end of it. It didn't seem like shots from like the first couple of episodes. There were heavy plot point shots that looked like that were happening.
I don't know, man. I just the way, like when we saw those first images of Mando season 1 and season 2, we were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then you realize with Mando season 1, it was just the first episode. Like all of it was the first episode.
Right.
And so same with season 2. Season 2, we saw the first 4 episodes, I believe. And then after that, we were completely in the dark. So I'm just curious as to how much we have actually seen of Mandalorian season 3.
And Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni like to keep it like, they love doing that because they don't like leaking things, and Jon Favreau's used to that because he's worked for Marvel. So with Marvel, it's secrets all the time. But I'm hoping that's the case. It would be great if we end up seeing maybe Max Rebo come back. And
I thought we were gonna go a whole podcast without you talking about that stupid blue elephant.
How dare you, sir?
We were doing so good. We
were doing great. I thought about it when James mentioned Last Jedi.
I did bring up the Last Jedi,
he talks about that. And Colin had yet
he
to
walks
talk
on
about
his
that.
hands.
Do we know the episode count for season 3? We do not yet.
No, we don't.
So far, what was it? It was 9
72.
episodes, 8 episodes for the first 2 seasons. So something like that. I mean, if Andor is as cool and groundbreaking, who knows if maybe they did the same thing for Mando and they pushed this one to 12 episodes, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be about 9 episodes for that.
Well, we know for sure that Andor is only 2 seasons, whereas Mandalorian's about to enter its 3rd. So
and on top of that,
shelf life,
I don't think we also know how long the episodes are going to be for Andor.
Yeah, true.
It could be
like
22-minute episode the other day.
Yeah. I don't think it would be like
point?
She-Hulk. I
What's the
think.
point?
I mean, I could see it being maybe over 30 minutes, but if it ends up being like 20 something minutes, I'm like, that's just a waste.
Yeah,
You
anytime.
guys remember? Yeah. Go ahead.
Like there was a few episodes of Mando that were like 32 minutes long, and I remember going, like, what is the point?
That first season of The Mandalorian, I was so afraid because I didn't know what to expect. And as the season went on, the shorter the episodes got to me, and I was like, oh no, like what's happening? Like
Or
we
the
need more
plot got
time.
slower.
We need more time. And it kind of felt like there were some filler episodes at first, but if you go to season 2, there's not that many like filler episodes. I think there's just that one.
For you, would you rather have it spaced out like that per week, where it was like 10 episodes in a season, or would you rather have it like 6 to 7, but they're longer episodes?
Kind of like Kenobi.
I think people more appreciate more episodes.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, because people would just be like, it's too short. It's like, well, I mean,
Well-
every episode was an hour, but they're like, no, it's still too short for me.
Yeah, people.
And I
are
think
not-
that-
yeah,
And I mean,
Yeah,
one of the
okay,
best parts
yeah, we're
about The
all like,
Mandalorian was building speculation. And because it was episodic every week, everyone would go home and talk about what they think was going to happen next. And I think that was definitely a major plus.
Yeah. I mean, we all kind of like grew up in the age where like commercials were still like a really big thing. So like you had to like wait like 3 or 4 minutes every 10 minutes of an episode that you watched. And now they're just like, it's all together, like a single episode. But then you got to wait a whole week to see another episode. So like they're changing the level of anticipation. And I think that like as a society, we're just getting extremely impatient. And a classic example of that is like TikTok. Like you can't keep your attention span for more than 10 seconds to watch a video before you're ready to go to the next video. And we're all guilty of it. We'll just scroll TikTok for like an hour. And I know people they get stuck on that app for like hours at a time. They're like, oh my God, I just sat in my bed for 2 hours. He said, mind your business.
One thing I will say, Netflix was really cool and really smart when they told the Duffer Brothers, hey, however long you want these episodes of Stranger Things, you get that length. They didn't care how long the episodes were for Stranger Things. That last season, those episodes were an hour and a half, 2 hours long. You know, it was a movie they showed, and it worked. People
like
watched
like part 2.
Yeah, people watched all of that, and nobody complained about the length of that. So, you know, David and I talked about this before. It was like, I hope Disney pays attention and says, hey, if it's good, the people will sit and watch this entire thing, and they don't care how long it is, as long as it's good. So I'm hoping we start to get some of those length episodes going forward with some of the Star Wars stuff coming out.
Right.
So Star Wars Stuff podcast episodes should not be longer than these TV shows.
How dare you?
We had that conversation a long time ago, David and I, and Colin too. But when season 1 came out of Mando, it was like, why are our breakdowns longer than the actual show was? Like, that's not possible.
Well,
like, show should not be.
So here's my thing about that is when you have a group of ours that just wants to
Talk,
you know, kind of talk about
We also
stuff
get kind
that
of
is
off
Star
topic
Wars.
very easily.
Star Wars
So-
stuff.
Mhm.
We will dive deeper into things because it's like we are not story driven. We are all about every single detail. We try and break everything down as much as we can. So, you know, sometimes we go 2 hours. We haven't done that in a while. I know not everyone on the podcast.
Let us know in the comments if you want a 2-hour podcast.
Well,
I think when we actually end up hitting those 2-hour podcasts, it's usually when we go into episodes. So I've always liked how we've really hit like the 1 hours when we're not focused on just an episode and viewing news plus the episode, whereas we can just view the news now, which is an hour, and then we would have broken down an episode, which would have been another hour or so.
Get a point.
Yeah.
Got a point. And you know, we're gonna be doing that
Roughly,
stuff very soon. You know,
Very soon.
I'm so excited. Back
We're
to
probably gonna
Andrew.
hit a
If we
3
ever
hours
like
soon.
decide
Yeah.
to do like a Star Wars Stuff podcast after dark, where we like do like more adult, you know, like
No.
content.
no.
I'm
No.
talking about, you know,
By
like
the
Yeah,
time
then we
we
can actually get
talked
Mason on the
about Andor.
podcast.
no, not Mason. I meant like, you ever like listen to like podcasters and they have like on their Patreon, they're like, oh, this is this regular standard podcast, but we just add alcohol into the mix, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's an
All
after
right.
like so you don't have a
Just a
filter
little bit
and
more
you can
loose,
just drink
a little bit
alcohol
more
and
talkative, and
which is what we
a
have for
little bit-
Sabak Talk. That was the
a little bit less filter, if you know
that's
what
what
I
our
mean.
Sabak Talk is.
Yeah.
Have you not listened to our episodes of Sabak Talk, Matt? Because
No, that's not what I'm saying. But like
Anyway,
Sabak Talk is family friendly most of the time.
anyways,
Most
what
of the time.
let's get
most
back on
of the
subject here. What else
James.
do we have here? What else do we have here?
We have the fact that Giancarlo Esposito and John Boyega will be potentially joining Marvel in the future.
That's exciting.
That's
And kind of sad though for Boyega jumping on Marvel. I'm just kidding. No, I want John Boyega to do everything. I need that
yeah,
guy.
I mean,
I need him
if
everywhere.
you paid attention to our podcast that we recorded on Monday and released on Tuesday, we talked about John Boyega voicing his opinion on wanting to step back from Star Wars and not participate in the franchise anymore.
Yes.
In response to the way that his character was handled.
How much of a
by
bag do you think they
Disney?
offered that poor man?
If
If he comes back from Marvel, bro, that must be an insane bag that they just offered
Yeah,
him.
that would be.
well, we'll see. But like the fact that like we have two major Star Wars characters from different series in the franchise coming over to do Marvel, whereas we see these two go back and forth all the time. Like we saw with Jon Favreau being like one of the primary like founders of like the modern day MCU, and then recreating and reestablishing how Star Wars is made today. So I'm excited to see, because we see a lot of like Marvel people coming over and working on Star Wars, but we don't have a lot of like face characters going, or face actors going on that side of the grass, you know?
Well, if we're talking about Star Wars actors, there's also she has not officially made her debut yet, but Emilia Clarke is actually joining the Marvel universe. Who
My wife.
She played Kira in Solo, and she will be playing a Skrull in Secret Invasion.
How can you just play a scroll? You can only like read those. Like, how are you gonna be one?
Jiminy Cricket. I will say though, they did miss out.
Jiminy Cricket.
He said Jiminy Cricket,
Yeah,
and that
I'm
made me
getting
laugh
ready for,
more than my
I'm
own
gonna go
comment.
But no. What I'm saying is that they missed out by not including Emilia Clarke in any more future Star Wars stuff. I mean, that was just.
We don't know that yet. There is always that open opportunity for Crimson Dawn to show up in season 2 of Book of Boba Fett if they do that, which I suggest they do. Because
they-
that
think
speculation
that,
has been just like, please bring her back. Please.
Like they
Bring back my mother.
they had the opportunity to do that in Book of
Khaleesi,
Boba Fett,
please.
and that's what was disappointing.
Guess who worked with so I read that new book. Oh my gosh. Geez, the new one that just came out. Mando and Shadow of the Sith, or is that what it was called? Gee, I forgot what it was.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I know what you're talking
guess-
about, Luke and Lando.
What's up with you and Jiminy Cricket today?
Yeah,
How old are you?
I know, right?
The
What's his
hell?
name? The villain. Yeah, he worked with Kira there for a second after the Clone Wars, and I thought that was actually a pretty cool reference where he was like, I worked with Kira and Crimson Dawn during this time, and I was like, man, it's there. We need more of that. I think we need a lot more of that. Back to John Boyega though. Did you hear his thoughts about episode 9, Colin Trevorrow? Did y'all hear about that?
I know of it, but could you just elaborate? Because I never read
So
any article.
they did ask him about the episode 9, Colin Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates, and he said he'll never read the script because it's going to make him sad. Because he said it's kind of disrespectful to read the leaked script, but he did say that when Colin Trevorrow pitched it to him, it was amazing and it was a great Star Wars movie that he was excited for. And so so Boyega is still a little bummed that he didn't get that moment. And what's crazy is hold on one more second, is the arc that Finn goes through in Duel of the Fates was really, really cool.
That was what I was thinking. Because I was like, did he love it so much because his character got what he deserved?
Oh yeah,
versus what actually happened to him.
He becomes a leader.
Yeah.
But
like he said in that article I mentioned in our last podcast, where he said that like he felt as if his character was kind of disrespected by Disney, and they were using him for the color of his skin. They were using his name, and they were kind of putting his character's development on the back burner and not giving him the Force sensitive attention that he was supposed to be getting in the beginning. So his character development was kind of stunted. And I was thinking that's what you were going to mention when you said you wanted to talk about that that uncut version of the Duel of Fates? And I'm like, yeah, because I think I was like, yeah, because I think that he really would have loved to see his character come into fruition with his Force sensibilities, getting to be a little bit his character and the character of Rey Skywalker, getting to get more on a personal level, not necessarily like romantically, but just like in terms of like Force sensitivity, being able to connect more. So what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say was in the in this draft of Duel of the Fates, Finn is a leader, and he and Rose lead a revolt and a big army on Coruscant during the final battle, which is amazing.
Coruscant.
Yeah, the climax of the movie is going to be in Coruscant. And then afterward, he and Rose get together, and they actually start to shelter Force sensitive children. They start to bring them all together. Which is pretty cool. And also Finn, I have to go back and read it because I don't think he was Force sensitive in that way that we kind of would have hoped he would be. I think we know he knows of the Force, and I think maybe like later it's led us to believe that later on he would start to develop it, but almost like how they did it in The Rise of Skywalker was kind of what was going to happen. But
the track with Leia, where she wasn't that necessarily Force sensitive, but she kind of developed her sensibilities. Yeah, and that's what I was figuring was going to happen.
That was going to happen, and I felt, and I'm not being controversial here. I just felt like how they set him up in the Last Jedi, and what happens to him in the Rise of Skywalker. It was like, man, that's just like they just stopped his story. They're like, his growth is over, his arc is out, and we're just gonna keep going. So yeah, Boyega said that he'll always be sad that he wasn't able to do that Duel of the Fates story. He'll never read it. He doesn't want to read it because I think he says it'll make him just really sad that it never happened.
Yeah, he's already gone through enough disappointment with his career in Star Wars and just in like his personal life with just how much of an activist he is, that he has a lot going on. He doesn't really need to add something else to that,
Yeah, and he has a new movie coming out this year, which looks amazing. He has like 2 movies.
Bleecker Street, yeah.
He's good. He's doing fine. And I like I said, I want John Boyega everywhere. I need him in everything because he's an amazing.
And with his potential in MCU now, he's got a pretty full plate coming up.
Yeah,
being an MCU is a very large commitment.
I just need him to do his iconic race scream one last time, like the Ray.
That's beautiful. All right, what else? What else we got?
That's what I do every time I see the Ray walk out in front of the Falcon.
Ray.
Jeez. You guys are something else. To tell you that right now, something else entirely. We could talk about how the Emmy nominations and winners.
Oh yeah, Book of Boba Fett won an Emmy for
all
visual
I
effects.
want is Star Wars to win an Oscar or like an actual thing for like Best Picture. That's all I want.
Okay,
because
you got to go movies for that.
I was gonna say blame the Academy's Awards for being like, no, Annie Hall was better than A New Hope.
Why on earth didn't Avengers
Shape of
Endgame
Water
win an Oscar? I think that movie should have won an Oscar for sure. Avengers Endgame.
No.
No?
Infinity War should have won over Endgame.
No, I would pick Infinity War over Endgame.
I would pick Infinity War over Endgame.
Okay, thank you.
Who wouldn't?
Amazing.
That movie's amazing.
Colin likes it because he thinks he is Captain America and he sees himself in that movie.
But I will say though, when it comes to the Oscars and Star Wars, I mean, the original movie didn't win Best Picture, didn't win Best Director. It was nominated for Best Picture and Best Director, but it did not win. Woody Allen won, which, hey, good job, Oscars, for giving that guy an Oscar. Yeah. And then Empire Strikes Back. If you know who Woody Allen is, you would know like how. Anyways,
he's the ant guy from that ant movie.
And then you got whatchamacallit. Then Empire Strikes Back won a few Oscars. I don't think Return of the Jedi. I think it won an Oscar, but then after that, Episode 1, 2, and 3 did not win an Oscar, and of course 7, 8, and 9 did not win an Oscar. They were all nominated, but they did not win. So
then win anything? There's nothing for costuming, sounding, visual effects, nothing. Wow.
And somehow Book of Boba Fett managed to get an Emmy,
Emmy.
winning for outstanding special visual effects.
But we always get that though. Like Star Wars always gets like the best.
We didn't win best visual effects at the Oscars.
Are you saying the Emmys are easier to win?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
not as many people can pour.
I
as
mean,
much
this isn't
money
like the
as they-
Sundance Film Festival either. So, like, you know,
Yeah, episode
I
1,
don't-
episode 4 won, episode 5 won, episode 6 I believe won a few, but then after that, none of them won after that going forward.
I mean, you guys know for sure Colin's a real movie connoisseur. I mean, you ever look at his social media? He's always rating movies.
John Williams was nominated for every single
So-
movie, but didn't win, which is a travesty.
Yeah.
That's a steal for sure. That's
I'm
just
really
disrespect.
sad actually because Indiana Jones 5 is probably his very last movie that he's going to compose.
Yeah. You
So
know
the
what?
fact that some of us actually had the chance to see him live
cried
at Celebration, that was really really
Roman
like
cry.
because of I thought the last time that we'd ever see him like that would be over at 2017 when like for episode 8 in the last Jedi and everything, and then all of a sudden he just popped up on stage and he just started doing the Indiana Jones theme, and then Harrison Ford walked out and we were like, what?
Well, that's
We were
because he
like,
heard it was my first time, and he was like, "Well, let me do it just for Matt, real quick."
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad y'all were there, by the way.
Yeah, it was
But-
kind of weird because like we were all very equally confused and excited, but all of us were all equally emotional in this
Yeah.
situation because we just were like so in awe and so starstruck at the presence of this genius who we never expected. to be
London.
there.
I feel like London will be a lot of fun. I hope they don't carry the lottery system. For those who don't
They
know,
do. We'll hear about it.
Hey, let's not talk about the lottery system. I think we talked about
Don't
that enough.
speak it into existence.
Let's
We've
just-
managed
let's
to go
just keep-
so
let's
long
just-
without talking about it.
Let's go to something else.
Let's talk about something.
our,
good. Let's talk about some good stuff.
our character of the week, you guys voted. So on there, we had the Death Sticks guy from Attack the Clones.
I love the Matrix.
Yeah, I was about to say
or,
the Matrix, right? Yeah.
yeah, or we had
Thank you for catching that. Okay, who else?
Wilro Hood, and you guys voted Wilro Hood. That is our
Is-
character of the week.
I would have
The
voted
for-
ice
for
cream guy.
For those who don't know, you're right.
Ice
It
cream
is the
man.
ice cream guy. He is carrying an ice cream maker from the 1980s. He was first seen in Empire Strikes Back as a background character, and he became such a fan favorite. Now there's the tradition at Star Wars Celebration every year that people dress up as him and they just run around the con. Something that Josh is holding is that thing that he carries. It is actually sold at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
In the market, is there a specific place where you can get it, or is it?
Yeah, where's the
multiple
where can
locations?
people buy it?
You
when they go?
can get it at
Dr.
Doc
Ondar's.
Oh,
Yes.
Doc Ondar.
I like it.
But
Yes.
but yeah, that's awesome. Good for him. And then I like that Jon Favreau has since turned the ice cream maker into a money
Even look at the
holder.
mustache. Go back to that Lego. Look at that stash.
Who does why did they
Colin,
design it
that's
that
what a
way?
mustache looks like. Get that Manscaped razor on you.
Anyways, well, yep, that's our character of the week. And
Yeah.
awesome.
Do you have any other backstory about that man? Do you find anything else about him?
Well,
does he
crazy
have any
enough,
kids?
I do.
Let me have it, man. I want to know more about this man.
So
Has he like got cookies and cream up in there, or what's going on?
So he actually goes back to Cloud City after the events of Return of the Jedi to go and take back the city from the Empire, because as you know, even though the war ended, there were still different parts of the Empire that existed, which you can actually play a level in Cloud City in Star Wars Battlefront 2 in that campaign for the Inferno Squad campaign. And he actually goes back with a couple of members of the New Republic, including Lando, and they retake Cloud City. back from the leftovers of the Empire.
Leftover ice cream from the Empire.
Yes, and other fun fact is that he made ice cream for everyone. After that, I'm just kidding. No,
That's a cool guy.
I was say that. Oh, you did not. Just never mind.
Okay.
That guy was-
He's
but
so
yeah,
chill.
The fact that he was a background character that showed up on screen for like 3 seconds, and now he has this following of
yeah, it's pretty great.
yeah.
I mean, that happens a lot in Star Wars, though.
Yeah.
Like, your obsession with Max Rebo. That guy like was on screen for like how many seconds?
He has showed up like more.
I know,
than
but like
ever,
in the
though.
original trilogy,
Yes.
Yeah.
like he was on screen for not that long at all.
He had
and now
more
he's
screen time than Will Rowe Hood.
not much more, like 10
But
seconds
he
maybe.
did though.
And then it got blown up in Book of Boba Fett.
The
R.I.P. Max Rebo.
Oh, he didn't bite on that. Okay.
I'm just ignoring your bad insult. But anyways, that is
opinion.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss?
Nope.
We can get into an argument later, but I think we're all good. Today. But no, I think that was pretty good. I think that's about all we were going to speak about today.
I think so. Actually, I think there's one thing that just one more thing that Josh and I were talking about earlier today, and it was where in some of the live action Star Wars shows we don't get that really that kind of time difference, like every single time, like a time jump, it says 5 years later, 6 years later.
The main conversation I was having is I don't know if you've seen House of the Dragon yet. I am really enjoying how they're doing their time skips. So it's been like 6 months and then 2 years and 9 months. But it's still relative to the story, and I think I would love to see that in the Star Wars project, and maybe see the influence of the Empire through. Like, I know we're going to see a lot of it in Andor, but I'd love to see like the turning point for people over the years of where they were like, you know what, I'm going to go join the Rebel Alliance. And I think it would be great to see that in a like, here's what it is now. Here's this person 6 months from now. Let's see what they accomplish in 2 years. And I would love to see it by an episodic basis. I think that'd be really fun.
They might do that in the Vader series if that comes to existence.
Well, we
I
know
wouldn't mind seeing that in Vader series.
Well, we know we're doing that in Andor, but we're just going to see how they're actually how they're gonna do that jump, how they're gonna do those jumps in time. Because there are scenes of Andor where he looks very, very young, and then there's other scenes where he looks.
They're gonna space that out over 5 years.
I'm interested to see how they're gonna do that.
As long as they don't have the last episode where it's like 12 hours before Rogue One, like as long as they like don't have that at the bottom of the screen,
Don't
like
put that on the bottom
where
of the screen. Let me figure it out on my own. Do not do that.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Could you imagine if they did that? You just hear Josh go, nah!
Exactly. If it just like pops up in the bottom, like
like, dude, come on, man. Yeah.
Throws over the mic.
Is this the end of every single Spider-Man movie that came out from Disney?
No, but it could be.
That's funny. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening. We would not be doing this if it wasn't for you. We're on Facebook. We have a great group on there. We're on Patreon. We've already talked about Patreon. We are adding a lot more stuff. There are chances to gain prizes and such. We're on Instagram at Star Stuff Podcast, Twitter at Stuff Pod, TikTok, search for Star Stuff Podcast. We also have our own Gmail, Star Stuff Podcast, gmail.com, and we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Please go give us a review. Even if it's all about David, go do it. It's funny. It's great. And
or if it's calling out Colin.
Yeah. And we're also on the Stuff Podcast. Our website is called stuffpodcastnetwork.com. That has our bios on there. That has our Patreon link. It has everything from our podcast universe. It's on there. Go and check it out. Yeah. We're on Twitch. SW
We're on Twitch
Stuff
right now.
77. Yes, we are. You're not wrong.
And we're live
But I was talking about gaming.
right
but,
now.
But with that being said, from myself, Matt, Josh, and James, the Force will be with you.
Always.
Always.
Pew, 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 pew.